this show started. So, welcome to today's webinar. And today's webinar is going to be Practice Insights. And we have the lovely Neil Wells from the training department who's going to be talking to us and giving us a great, mind my pun, insight into Practice Insights. He's going to give us the full go through that we have here for today. So to get started though, as we all know, we do have a little bit of housekeeping to do. And the housekeeping is that the webinar will be recorded. So anyone that's here today, you go, oh, did I miss that? Oh, you get the webinar, you can watch it again. Or you want to get the recording and probably get together as a team and watch it again later and discuss all the interesting tips and information that Neil will be giving you today. Now, we do have you in listening mode, but as we just checked, we've got the chat working and we have got the Q&A. So if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, don't hesitate. Put the questions into the chat and the webinar. We'll endeavour to look at those throughout the webinar. If not, we will have a question time at the end of the webinar that will address any of your questions for you. So what are the key topics that Neil will be looking at today? He'll endeavour to give you an introduction into insights. So if you don't know anything about it, he's going to tell you all about it. We're also going to let you know the security requirements. So it does have security, so you can limit who has access to it. We'll do a summary of the overview dashboards. Oh, the dashboards, I'll wait for that. That's really interesting stuff. So hang on to the seat for the dashboards. We'll also be looking at active and inactive patients and the rebooked appointments. And we'll also be looking at your debtors. We're looking at white space, which is, where you don't have appointments in your appointment book. And we'll be looking at the active treatment plans. So on that note, I would now like to hand the baton over to Neil. And now Neil will start the demo for you. All yours, Neil.
Thank you, Linda. Hello, everyone. So I'm just sharing my screen. Okay. So as we mentioned, we're looking at Practice Insights. So Insights is an analytics tool which provides an up-to-date graphic of business analysis related to different aspects of your dental practice. Data is extracted from Dental4Web once per day. And so when you go in, it's basically as of yesterday. So as we mentioned, there is security requirements for Practice Insights. So if we go into location setup, we come down to security. There's two things you can do here. Number one is you can assign who can access Insights. On the right-hand side here, if we come to the bottom, we have Practice Insights. Insights contains all of these dashboards. We're going to talk about the overview one today, but you have these other ones as well. So you can limit certain staff to accessing certain dashboards. And you can also limit that a provider can only see their own dashboards. That's done using the Supergroups feature. If you've never had Supergroups set up, you'll need to contact our support or training department, and we can help you set up a supergroup to begin with. Essentially, in the supergroup, you would add a new group in here for each provider, and then they'll be able to access their own insights, but nobody else. If you have somebody like a practice manager or business owner who you want to be able to access all insights, in the part over here, you would tick Show All Data, which means they can view everybody's dashboards. Okay. So to access insights, we come into Management and we come down to Insights. This will open a new tab and it will load the dashboards. And these are the different dashboards that I was talking about. Over the next couple of months, we're going to run webinars on each of these different dashboards. But today we're concentrating on the overview dashboard. So the overview dashboard is a snapshot of these key demographics of your practice. And this is the entire practice as one whole report. The first one I'm going to talk about is patients. This tells you what percentage of our patients are active or inactive. Essentially, an active patient is a patient who has had treatment done or visited the practice in the last 18 months. With any of these tiles, if you click on the graph, that will open a list of all the patients within that report. From here, in the top right-hand corner here, we can now export as Excel or selected rows from Excel. So you can actually highlight individual rows and you can export those ones, selected rows, or you can export all rows to Excel. The next tile is future appointments. So this one is active patients who attended the practice, had treatment done, and made another appointment, all on the same day. Now that appointment can be any appointment in the future from when they had treatment done. It might be the second visit of a root canal therapy, for example. For this to work properly, in the appointment book, you must use the arrived, checked in, checked out feature. Because what that will do, that will mark the appointment with attended, the little A status there. Because it's looking at that, and it's looking that the patient had treatment done, and of course, another appointment in the future made all on the same day as the visit. And so you can see here, it gives you a percentage with a future booking and without a future booking. The next one is recalls. So this one tells you what percentage of patients made their next 6 monthly checkup and clean appointment on the same day as treatment. The differences between these two is that that one looks at a field on the appointment, recalls here. So if you highlight this and you select automated recalls like that, or it might be manual recalls, whichever one has this in it, you're telling it that this is a 6 monthly appointment. Some practices have a policy that nobody leaves without an appointment. So they might make another appointment in 6 months' time. So today you'd make an appointment for, say, January next year. So when that's set up like that, in Practice Insights, this will count it as booked. So you can see here on this database that we have, no appointments have been marked with that recall status. And again, click on it and it brings up a list of patients. The next slide is your debtors. So this is a snapshot of your overall debtor balance. And you can see it's broken up into current, 14 to 21, 21 to 31, 31 to 40, and over 40 days. These periods can be changed. That's done in debtors and marketing and Marmerge setup. In here, we come to Marmerge category and we go to reminders to the debtors. And on these ones here, you will see we have reminder period. So you can see we have 21, 31, 40. So that's where you can set that. So you might want to set it to be 30, 60, 90, 120, entirely up to you. And again, click on it. And it brings up a list of patients who have an outstanding invoice, which is what the dentist looks at. Now, the next one here, white space over the next 7 days. This one here is actually updated every 30 minutes. This is giving you a snapshot over all of your books. What percentage of your books are white space? So therefore, what percentage of books do not have any appointment or any preset slots? So these guys here. Then we have active treatment plans. So this is showing you, again, your active versus incomplete treatment plans, both in percentage and also dollar value. So what this is telling you here is based on the treatment plan. There's a few things that you need to make sure for this to be accurate. So if we go into treatment plan, we recommend that every time you see the patient, you create a new chart, which also creates a new treatment plan. You'll see down the bottom right-hand corner, we have active treatment plan. By default, when you create a new plan, this is ticked. And you will now see these items here have not been completed, which means they have not been moved over to treatment. So this plan will be counted as an incomplete plan. One of the issues comes as when you have two different options of treatment for the one condition. So you might offer the patient an option of extraction or a root canal therapy. Ideally, you would create two plans, one for each. As you move items over to treatment, these items will turn grey. When every item is grey, this treatment plan will be considered as complete. We do have a function which is called alternative treatment plan. This helps with this type of report because what this does is creates two treatment plans and links them together. So you'd create one plan for the root canal therapy and an alternative plan for the crown. You'd print them both out and give them both to the patient, and then they'd sign off the plan that they want. Once a plan is linked to an appointment or items are moved from treatment plan over to treatment, the treatment plan becomes accepted. What will happen? The other plan will automatically become rejected. So the status here will become rejected. And at the same time, active treatment plan will become unticked, which means that treatment plan will not be counted in the incomplete treatment plans. It'll be considered inactive. So if I go back over to Insights, this is looking at active treatment plans only. So as I just mentioned, these ones here are all plans with items with yellow and white that have not been moved to treatment plan, or not been moved to treatment, and active treatment plan is ticked. So for this to give you accurate results, we do recommend using the treatment plan like that. And again, if we click on it, we can bring up a list of patients who have incomplete treatment plans. And it will show you on this the day the plan was created, the plan number, and also the amount of that treatment plan. So one thing that's good here is this can tell you how much revenue are you missing out on from patients not having their treatment completed. So that's the overview dashboard. So what I might do, I might just go on to a couple of the other dashboards while we're in here, because some of these do apply to the security that I showed you before. If we go to the next one, from here on in, these dashboards have filters. So with these ones, we can set filters. So you can set filters based on predefined filters, or you can set your own date range. You can also select your location. If you have more than one location on the same database, you'll see them here. And also you can select your provider. So with the supergroups I was talking about earlier, if a provider is put into a supergroup and only the person in that supergroup, they will only see their name here. They won't see all the others. This one is here because I've been ticked as show all data. And you can also include inactive providers. So if you've had a provider leave the practice within this reporting period you've selected, you can have them included in this by ticking on yes or no, which is active or inactive. I've got all highlighted here because we want them included if we're doing reporting. So these ones here, we have daily net production, hourly net production, and net production per patient. Net production is invoices raised, less discounts and refunds. So with the daily net production, this will look at your invoices, but also at your appointment book. And it's considered any day where there's appointments is a work day. And that's what it will calculate it by. With the hourly net production, however, this requires on appointment slots being marked as work time accordingly. Any appointment that's created is automatically work time. However, breaks and preset slots can be assigned to be work time, yes or no. So you'll see if you create a break, you will see work time. If that work time is set to yes, it will be included in that report. It'll be calculated. Likewise, preset slots. So if you preset slots in your book, a common one is lunch, but you might have others where you preset your day for procedures or even online bookings. You might say, I only want certain times of the day available to book online. You would use preset slots for that. If we go to the hamburger menu up here, we have set up pre-book slots. Each of these slots that you create, you have work time. And you'll set that yes or no if you want it to be counted in that report. So an example would be you have 8 hours in the day, 1 hour lunch, 1 hour is work time, no, therefore you have 7 hours. And therefore that report will divide that by 7 hours for that one day, and then same for every other day within that reporting period. We then have patients treated. So this tells you the number of patients that were treated each month. So you can see here we have each day over those months. So you can see here for the last day, these are all the ones that have been done. And it's showing you when you click on it, we have new, existing. So the light green is new patients, the dark green is existing patients. Then we have new patients treated. This basically tells you the number of new patients you've had attended the practice for the providers selected up here. Again, if we click on it, we get a list of our new patients. So the next one I'll talk about, which relates to the overview one, is the appointment and utilization. And you'll see the tiles will come up here. So we have chair utilization. So this is showing you what percentage of your days are used for appointments. Okay, so then we have chair utilization and white space. So this is showing you the light blue is white space, the dark blue is utilization, so appointments. The next one is a good one. Lost revenue through white space. What this calculates is the production, the net production per hour. It takes that and multiplies it by your white space. And what that gives you an idea is if that white space was filled, this is how much extra revenue you would have made. The last two is average treatment time and average wait time. These two look at the arrived, checked in, checked out feature. So the average treatment time is the average time between checked in and checked out. Whereas the average wait time is the time between arrived and checked in. These are really useful where you can see, number one, how long a patient's waiting in the waiting room. You might want to set yourself a KPI and you might want to say, I don't want patients waiting any more than 15 minutes. You run this and this will tell you what your real-time result is. Same with your treatment time. If you see your average treatment time is 40 minutes instead of half an hour, you might look at ways of how to reduce that appointment time. The last one I'll go through today will be the clinician treatment plan and service mix. So some of these you would have seen in the overview. But again, the difference here is that we can break it up per provider. So we have treatment plan acceptance and treatment plan completion. So this looks at the status. So if I go back into the treatment plan, I mentioned before the status here will change. The moment you add a treatment plan to an appointment, or you move treatment over from the treatment plan over to treatment, this status will change to accepted. Once every item has been moved to treatment and it's therefore grey, this will change to completed, as I mentioned before. That's what these two look at. So this is telling you each month how many were created and how many were accepted within that time frame and the dollar value. And how many were completed in the time period that you selected. And again, we have the active treatment plans. which is the same as what was in the overview. However, this can be filtered by provider. So you can view per provider. That's probably not a good example, but that's where you can see it. And you can click each provider. So if you want to do view two providers, you can click on two providers there. Then we have the service mix. This is where you can actually group your procedures. So by default, the groups are item use 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. However, you can create your own ones in here, and you can call it Crown and Bridge group, root canal group. You can call it that sort of thing. That's done in Dental4Web in Location Setup and the Items tab. In the Items tab, if we click on the Record drop-down menu, we have Procedures Classifications. That's where these are. So by default, items used 0 is items starting with 0, items starting with 1, 2, etc. However, as I mentioned in here, you can create a group and you can put items into that group. So therefore, when you do that report, it can be broken up into your own predefined groups. So if you want that to be accurate, each time you create a new procedure, you would add it to one of these groups to be included in that report. So it's giving you the dollar amount, and it's also telling you the number of times items within that group were used in the time frame. So that's about as far as I'll go today. Beyond that, we start getting into more the practice end side, the management side. So we'll now open the floor for any questions, and I'll pass it back to Linda.
Thank you, Neil. That was very interesting. We haven't got any questions at the moment. I think you gave them so much information, they're trying to process it. So while we're waiting, we'll just give you some resources that you can look back on and follow up after this session today. While you're waiting to type any questions, you can do that in the chat or the Q&A. But we're here to help. So when we're here to help, we do have our e-support, which is where you can see step-by-step articles, and a lot of what Neil was talking about can be found on there. And you've got up-and-coming webinars and training, which is very interesting. If you are troubleshooting and you're trying to find something but you can't find it on e-support, then you can actually email our support here, support@dental4web.com. That will create a support ticket, and one of our support team will follow you up and help you with what you want to bring. But also I'd like to bring up our website and our Facebook that we have. So Centaur's website is great. It's great to see when we've got all our new features and products and everything coming up. But from a training perspective, we've really got a good section there on blogs. The blog section is just got full of so much information. It's got past recordings of webinars. It's got articles. You could get a lot of information. I can't say enough about doing that. But we also got our Dental Windows Facebook. It is a private group, so when you do sign up into it, it will ask you for your customer reference number. So have that handy when you're signing up. But it's a really good source too for tips and tricks of anything that we need to know. And also, if you want to know about anything, you can go in there and put information in there, and we can probably put a little post together for you so you can help out there. So there's a lot of ways we can help you there. So
there is one more thing I'll add to for that, Linda.
Yes, certainly, Neil.
I'll just share my screen again.
Certainly.
In addition to everything that Linda just mentioned, with Dental4Web, we also have the Learning Centre. The Learning Center is a very valuable resource for you where you can actually go in and do training courses on Dental4Web. To access the Learning Center, we go to the hamburger menu and we come down to Support and Learning. Underneath there, we have Learning Center. This is available to you as part of your Dental4Web subscription. What you can do is you have 4 courses that you can complete. Introduction, Clinical, Front Desk, and also Administrator. Each of these courses are a series of short videos that you watch, and they're broken into segments. So Introduction, for example, is broken up into appointment book, patient records, etc. Clinical covers charting, treatment plan, treatment, etc. And also Front Desk covers your appointment book, invoicing, taking payments, that sort of thing. We recommend each staff member registers to the Learning Center individually. That way, when they log in, they can keep track of their progress. It's self-paced, so you don't need to rush through a course. When you sign out, it will remember where you're up to, so when you come in, you can just pick up where you left off. To register, we just go to Login, and we come down to Sign Up. You do have the choice of using your own home individual email address, or if you're signed a work one, you can use that. So you can use either one. But we do recommend each person signs up with their own email address. That's a very handy resource, especially if you have a new staff member who's used Dental for Windows but is new for Dental4Web. So they can go through and do these courses and upskill. Okay, I just wanted to just show that. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, no, that was brilliant. Oh, guys, that's what a great resource that one is for you guys to go in and follow up with. Okay, dokie. Okay, so we're happy to stay around for a little bit longer for any questions that you might have. Don't be shy. We're here to help with the questions. But rest assured, Neil has given you a lot of information in today's webinar. So if you do find afterwards, if you're like me, who gets excited and then afterwards goes, oh, I should have asked that question, you can email training@centralsoftware.com and we can endeavour to answer those questions that you have. They're not at all. Or obviously go to our eSupport or the Online Learning Centre with all the information that you have there. So, Neil, I think you've given them enough information. You must have explained it all very well to them. We've got no questions. Like I said, we'll just hold on just a little bit longer. Sometimes it takes a while for the questions to come through to us when you're typing. But rest assured, we'll just stay on this a little bit longer for you. But I've got a feeling, Neil, that you explained it so well that they don't have anything. They would probably want to go out now, go and have a look at it and try it out and see how it goes. Okay, so we've got one here from Nicole. Sorry, I missed the start as a practice manager. I can only see the overview dashboard. How can I see the others? Neil, could you explain that to Nicole?
Okay, so thank you, Nicole. So that is basically security. So I will share my screen again. So within security, we have a feature called supergroups. So if I come down to location setup and I come down to security, we have supergroups. So supergroups is assigned for 2 reasons. Number one, you can assign it so that each provider can only see their own dashboards. But also, if you're a staff member, so a practice manager would be a staff member, not a provider in the system, to see all the dashboards, you would need to be added into a supergroup and have show all data ticked. That way you'll be able to see all providers, and also all the dashboards. If you do not have supergroups here, speak to our support department and they can help you to enable supergroups. So we need to set it up for you initially, but then we can set up so that you can come into supergroups and set it up however you see fit. As I said, so once you're assigned to a supergroup, sign out, sign back in to refresh it. Once you launch Insights, you should see then all the dashboards down the left-hand side.
Oh, that was great, Neil. Yeah, and Nicole says, thank you, Neil.
You're welcome.
And Lynn thought that you explained everything well, so that was very good. Well, as Neil, I've got one question, Neil, that I will ask. When you look at the different dashboards, can you download any of that information in case any of the practice managers would like to put it in a presentation that they might have to present to the owners or the main dentist at the practice? Can they download any of that information?
Not download, but you can export to Excel.
Fantastic.
And that's done by clicking on the tile and the top right-hand corner, click on this icon here, and you can then export data to Excel. You can either export all rows or you can export selected rows. So here we can highlight particular rows and you can export those rows only, or you can export all rows to Excel. That's the way you would download it.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm sure that would be handy for a lot of our practice managers or even the owners out there. They would like to have that information there.
Yes, and then you can use Excel's magic to do whatever you like with that data.
And do a fantastic presentation and present it at your monthly meetings or whatever you need to do. That's fantastic, Neil. That's great. Well, I think we didn't have any more questions, but like I said, guys, if you do have any other questions, you can certainly email training@dentalsoftware.com if you find that you want any more information. So on that note, what we would like to do is say thank you for taking up the time with us today, and hopefully you will enjoy enjoy your insights and have fun looking at all your data information. So for next time, this is goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.